Well, good morning. It's Wednesday, the 12th of August, 19, 2026, if you don't mind. Where has that year gone? In fact, where's that bloody 30 years gone if I'm thinking it's still 1900? Anyway, here we are. And it's 10:25 in the morning, and I'm only just having a cup of coffee. That's nothing unusual. I mean, generally I sort of crawl out of bed and I grab something to eat, grab a coffee and sit down, and sometimes it's 8 o'clock, sometimes it's 9 o'clock, sometimes it's 10 o'clock. It doesn't matter. But this morning, it's 10 o'clock. But I've been out of bed since, 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Been out of bed since 8 o'clock. And between then and now, I've been into town, I've been back, I've done some shopping. Let me tell you about it. Last night, I went to fill my cup up, no water. I thought, oh, not again. We had this problem just a few weeks ago. So I went out and checked out the hose, and sure enough, my hose had blown off the tap. And it's one of those fabric type hoses that rolls up and that sort of thing. And I've had it for years and years. I haven't used it all that often, but since I've been here the last 2 years, it's been hooked up to the caravan or to the tap, and away it's been going. And last night it blew off, and I thought, right, well, I have a quick look at it, and no, it's not going to stay on there as it is. The thing had split away from the actual connection on the end of the hose. And I thought, oh, okay, so how am I going to solve this? Now, I didn't have a good look at it last night. It was dark. And so I came in and I thought, okay, this morning I'll go out and I'll check it and I'll have a look and I'll go and buy a hose clamp that'll fit it and clamp it back on again. Doesn't work that way. Of course it doesn't. So it was a matter of, okay, BCF, here we come. We need to buy ourselves a new hose. So I jumped in the car and did that. Went into town, bought the hose, then back to the shopping centre because there were a few things that I needed. I actually made a list last night. Always make a list. Doesn't matter whether you make a list or not, you'll still get home and you'll have left something behind or left something off the list. In this case, it was a CR20, whatever it is, 3022 battery that fits in the back of one of those things, and that's the remote control for the air conditioner, which I found yesterday in a drawer. Oh, wow. Doesn't work because the battery's dead, obviously. So I thought, righto, I need to get a battery for that. No, didn't put it on the list, did I? In the meantime, I walked in with a list and I thought, righto, if I come out of there with about 40 or 50 bucks, I'll be okay. $170 later. Yeah, usual thing. Anyway, that's by the by. So also, I dropped my census form off. The census form is one of those interesting things whereby I came home about a week ago. I'd been out and I came back, and there's a census, or there's one of these forms sitting on the step of the caravan. And generally, I've found in the past, I can recall two, especially. The one in the middle, I can't remember where I was when that happened, but the first one, I was at Barnett River, and we're in the campground, and all of a sudden this bloke came around with a whole pile of census forms. We filled it out while he was there, and he came and collected it again, and off he went. And then in 2021, I was in a camping area, again, reasonably isolated, on the Stewart Highway in Northern Territory. And again, there was a knock on the door not long after I pulled up, and I had a look, and sure enough, there's a couple of guys there from the census. So I thought, well, that's okay, fair enough. So I filled that out and sent it off again. So this time I come home and the census form is sitting on my step. So I got to on Monday night, because I knew I was going to be here on my own last night, and I filled it out on Monday night. I've got a friend, in fact, I've got a couple of people who have said, well, where do you get the census forms from? They haven't delivered them to us. And so it's interesting. How did you get on? Did you get your census form delivered, or did you have to go and find one to fill out? So anyway, I did that, and I posted it off this morning when I was at the shopping centre. In the meantime, probably a couple of weeks ago, some of you may have seen a video I did of Andre Heimgartner's, I was going to say Celica, it's not Celica at all, a Toyota Supra racing car, which his sponsor is R&J Batteries, and they have a branch here in Albany. So when the cars came across from the eastern states to do the Wanneroo trip last weekend before last actually, they did a detour down here, sponsors trip into Albany, and we went and had a look at the car and met Andre, and so that was all good. So I'd actually got out and done something. I've been spending a lot of time sitting here at the computer messing around, and I haven't been going out. I mean, the weather's been pretty ordinary anyway to start with, but plus the fact with the price of fuel the way it is, and it's going up and up and up, and there's no enticement to get out there and actually go around and spend the money filming for something that, let's be honest, in the long run is going to earn me a pittance. A bloke might earn $2 or $3 at the absolute most if he gets a number of viewers to have a look at it for that particular video. And that means that I've driven around the other side of Albany for this particular one. Come back, I've used up all that fuel, I've used that time, and then I've done the time sitting down, going through the editing process, which generally takes at least a day to a day and a half by the time you produce. So all that time for $2 or $3, is it worth it? In the long run, well, essentially the money that I do earn each month, which is, again, something like about somewhere between 120 and maybe 140 bucks a month, is covered by people who are watching a lot of my older stuff. In other words, through a catalogue of 950 songs, you're hoping that 950 videos, you're hoping that that people are going to find something that they want to see, and then that just sort of keeps the numbers ticking over. So it's turnover, which is what it's about. So yeah, I went around to Good Beach, and I did a run around there and filmed that, and that'll be coming up in a few weeks' time, I would think. I decided that this camera that I'm using, the Pocket 3, it's a small, thin camera, and it's ideal for maybe mounting on the inside of the car occasionally when I'm driving and I want to talk to you or whatever like this, headshots and that sort of thing. So I had looked to see if there was a camera mount that might fit within the car, a windscreen mount that'll do the job, and I found one. I don't know how good it was. I didn't know how good it was. It was only a cheapie, and it came from Amazon. Now, Amazon have opened up a branch in Perth of recent times, and I was expecting this thing to take a couple of weeks to get here. Next thing I get a notification is it's turning up on Friday. So I thought, righto, I'll go to my sister's place because my mailing address is my sister's place. So I go there, I get the message it's going to turn up between 9:35 and 11:35. By 11:30, I'd seen nothing. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Excuse me while I have a drink. So I thought, well, let's have a look at the address. So I had a look at the address, and it's number 2243 da-da-da-da-da-da road. And I thought, is that right? So I walked out the front and had a look at my sister's letterbox, because they were away, and no, she's in Unit 43. So it's Unit 43, and the address of the place is 21 da-da-da-da-da-da way. And I thought, right, okay. Obviously, he's not going to find this place. So I jumped in the car and I went for a drive around to try and find 43 da-da-da-da-da-da way. That's not the name of the street. That's not the name of the street, but it'll do. And of course, no, there's nothing there because where they live at 21 is a village. And you go for a drive around outside the village and it's all cow pasture. So I thought, right, I will do a quick run down to the post office and let them know what's going on and see if we can't alert the driver as to what's going on or find out what's going to happen to the parcel. So do that, and no, we can't get hold of the driver, but he will bring it back here and it'll be here for you to pick up later on today. And I was, oh, good one, thank you very much. And we'll let you know, thanks, that's good. So it disappeared out of there, and I thought, well, Okay, I may as well wander back home for the time being. And then I thought, wait a minute, I've tried 3 times to go to this particular pie shop to get a pie to do a review on it. I've done a heap of others around Albany, and I thought, well, okay, I've got to be fair, so let's go and I'll grab one of these pies. I don't really need it at the moment, but let's go and try it and see. And on this occasion, they were open. Previous times, I either had run out of pies, or the next 2 times, they were closed. They don't open on Mondays and Tuesdays, it seems. So I went in and I grabbed hold of the pie, and the shop was full, and I thought, well, okay, so obviously the place is popular. And I went and I did the pie, and I did the shoot. No sooner I got back home again, and I get a message from the post office that the guy is back, and the thing is there back at the post office again. So here we go, back into town again. So a bit of toing and froing and running around and all that sort of thing. So in the meantime, I got into the Amazon account to try and find out why they had sent it to the address they had sent it to, because it wasn't the right address. And I have a Prime account for video as well. So I went in to have a look to see what that was all about. And the silly bastards had sent it to the address that I had actually put in there when I put the address in. Yeah, it was my fault. I put the wrong address in. Anyhow, not to worry, so we fixed that up. So we get back home again. And then today, no water. So been into town, and I've had to buy a new hose, and they're not cheap, are they? $77 for a 20-metre water hose, suitable for drinking water and that sort of thing. I got that back home and then fitted the hose up onto the car and back to the caravan, and that seems to be working okay at the moment. And then there it is, 10:30, and I haven't had breakfast, haven't had a cuppa. So that's been my story so far this week. Hopefully there's no more dramas for me for this week. That's enough. That'll do me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, you might like to check out this video. Or maybe browse this playlist. There are over 900 videos just like these on this channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we'll let you know when the next video is available. If you liked this video, hit the like button, comment, and feel free to share with your friends. Thanks for watching.